Well, hello, you guys. How are you? Happy Tuesday. We have a lot to go over tonight. Hey, con artists, let me say hi to you guys. Crafty Chris, Neat Noodle, Teacup, Ryan, Music City Mom, Shelly Beans, Nature Rocks, Tess Matt, Carol, Adrian, Melissa Jade. Oh, I need to, hang on, MJ. I need to fix something. Un momentito, por favor. Let me put it here. Here we go. There you go. Okay. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Chloe. Let's see. Neat. I said hi to Neat Noodle. Hey, Amelia Sparkles. A million Sparkles. Sorry. Hey, Petunia. Hey, Stars Align. Hey, Tiffany. Christina. Mayla's mom. Good to see you. Teacup Kraken. Hey, hey, hey. Amanda Love. Hello. Hello, Pointer Lover. I don't know if I said hello, Tess Mac. I don't know if I said hi. Now, I know I said hi to a million Sparkles because I messed up her name. Okay. Welcome in. We have a lot to discuss. Please pardon me really quick because there are some very specific this is what we want to hear. Okay. So, as you guys all know, John Pryor has, for the defense, they're presenting their case in chief. Okay. And they started out with Emma. Now, oh, hey, Crime Crochet and Coiffe. Good to see. It keeps jumping as soon as I try to click you guys' names. Okay. So, he started it. He's going to present his case. Well, yesterday when I was over at Allie's, who by the way will be joining us late. She's got some family stuff. It is a birthday, so we're just going to be waiting patiently for Allie. She'll join us when she gets here. So yesterday when we were going through the Letitia calls from June, Allie and I were talking, and we were talking about Emma and whether or not Emma was lying. And I have to say that initially, when I listened to her testimony, I didn't get to hear all of Cross. And then I heard why can't I think of his name? He was there. Hold on a minute. What is not Chad? What's his son's name? Garth. And okay, so I only got to hear like the very tail end of Emma's cross-examination, and then it was Garth's turn, and then, all that stuff. So I didn't hear all of her cross-examination. Thank you, MJ. I could not, I don't know why, because every time they refer to him, all I can think of is Garth from Wayne's World. It's all I can hear. That's all hey, Corky, good to see you, babe. Okay. So initially I was thinking, I did initially, there were some moments in her direct testimony that I was like, hold on, I want to look at something really quickly over here instead of making it full screen. I want to look at the transcript because there's a specific moment that I want to find. All right, now let me do my little Control F. And let me find. Okay, hold on. Anyway, so, all right, here, I got it. Okay. So there were a few moments in the direct where it isn't so much what she said. Well, hey, Pointer, MK Lynn, I'm trying to read his message. How you doing? Let me see. Hey, in my opinion, allegedly, don't come for me. Hi. All right. So anyway, welcome in, you guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. Why are we putting ones in the chat? Who's doing polls? I don't know. I don't know about these polls, y'all. Okay, so I can't. I've got to focus. If I look at chat, I'll just be wanting to. Who knows what I'll be doing? Anyways, all right. So there were a couple of times in the direct testimony where, when Emma was on the stand, it isn't so much what she said; it was the way that she said it, and some of that testimony surrounded, okay, so she testified that the day before her mom passed away, okay, that her mom was cleaning, rearranging the library or preparing the library in such a way because they were going to have a book fair, which, by the way, I miss going to those. I liked them as a kid, and I loved it when my parents or when my kids had book fairs too. I used to love going in there with them. Anyway, that's a side topic. My ADD is extra bad today, you guys, so try to be patient with me. Okay. Thank you, MJ. Everyone putting a 1 is agreeing she wasn't being honest, Bindi. Okay, gotcha. All right. So anyway, she was talking about, Emma was talking about her mom, moving stuff around and, taking out personal belongings, blah, 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 blah. And she talked about the box. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Instead of Fitbit, let me look box up. hold on, there's like 6 of them. Hold on, let me go up. Okay, let me go one more up. Okay. So it's not exactly what she said, it's the way that she says it. All right. So we're going to listen to a little bit of that and then we'll talk. Okay. Oh, well, you guys won't be listening to nothing if I don't add it to the screen. So hang on a minute. All right, here we go.
The book fair on the 18th and the preparations that were involved. Did you personally observe anything as far as your mother preparing for the book fair?
She loaded her personal belongings in boxes and loaded them heavier than perhaps she should have, because I observed her walking down the hallway and she was resting the box against her body, on her arms, holding it back and walking with a lot of effort. I was in a meeting and I actually stepped out to help her because it was way too heavy for her.
And on that occasion, what vehicle did she drive to the school to load those boxes and unload those boxes?
She drove my parents' Dodge Dakota that day.
Okay. So you see, there's just like a little tiny bit of, this is just my opinion though. You guys don't have to share it. And this is not the best example, but there are more and we're going to get there. There's just a little like almost exasperation with her mother, as if Emma mothered her mother. That's how it felt like, oh God, mom's at it again. You know, I got to help her again. You know, it was just, there's just like some, I don't know another way to say this, you guys. And this is not like, you know, obviously this is not a clinical diagnosis. I'm not in any position to diagnose anybody. This is not even, I mean, she always just has like a little stank on it when she talks about her mom. Like she's just like, she finds her mom annoying and like a hassle, like a pain in the butt. And it was really kind of like irritating me. Okay. And then we have, Shiza. Hold on. Let me do Fitbit, because then I wanted to talk about this part. Wait. Not this part. The life insurance. Okay. So here's this one. There's another part that I want to play too, but let's listen to this part, because this is an example of what I'm talking about. All right, here we go.
Life insurance. And I want to mention the name Taylor Ballard. Do you know that name?
Yes, the Ballard Insurance Group offers insurance for our school district.
Okay. And did you have an occasion in September at the start of school to engage in a presentation by the Ballard office?
At one of our faculty meetings, they came and talked to us about life insurance and increasing it. And they showed us that the rates were competitive, or it was really cheap insurance. And so they encouraged us to purchase some. And both my mother and I purchased some at that meeting.
Okay. And at the meeting, was it at the meeting that both of you just elected to purchase the insurance?
Okay, can I just say right here, this is why I'd be getting irritated with Pryor. He's clearly reading from a notebook, right? From notebook paper, legal pad, if you will. That is exactly what he's reading from, right? And now, like I don't know. He draws it out. He takes too long. And then he ends up, and this is something that I noticed all day today. And I was so shocked that there were not more objections. There were a lot of times, when he was either a little bit testifying, which today they got him for, but there was some leading, which leading is okay, but only on cross, never on direct. And it's just like he would crack these jokes. And this is okay. So Emma, one of them was Emma is a teacher. Okay. When he's talking about Chad and Tammy's religious beliefs, he says, was he a literal person? Did he take things very literally? And then he said, let me let you, she didn't know what, either she didn't know what literal means. I'll put it in the thing or whatever. I'll put it in the transcript and look for it. But it was just that exchange was weird to me too. Okay, so now let's finish this part so I can move on, because we have a lot to cover. So I need to stay on task. Hold on. Can we make the settings a little better? Yes. Oh, wow. This is as high as it will go. Fantastic.
Yes.
So prior to that, and I can't remember, in September of 2019, I believe you were married at that point. Is that correct?
I was.
Did you consult with your husband before you elected to up your insurance at that point?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Are you aware as to whether or not your mother consulted with the insurance with your father prior to upping her insurance on that meeting day with Taylor Ballard?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Overruled.
Are you aware of whether or not your mother consulted with your father on that day to up her insurance?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
You can answer it.
We were sitting at a table and filled out the paperwork together. We both signed to take out more life insurance on ourselves, and we did not consult with our husbands.
Okay. And at that point, did you take up the maximum amount of insurance that you could purchase at that point?
I did not, because I could not afford it. I later did.
Okay, at the next period.
Yes.
But it's your understanding that without discussing with your father, your mother elected to up her insurance to the maximum amount.
I saw her check that box on the paper.
I want to change gears a little bit.
Hey, Allie.
And there was some testimony about a Google search for southwest wind.
Okay. Now, I want you guys, and I'm sure most of you guys have already heard all of this part, but this part to me was this is where I had enough. This is where I was like, bruh, what are you doing? What are you asking your kid to do? Okay. Never, ever, ever would I fire Nadie at all, ever, for any reason. I don't even care. Hey, Humanimal, good to see you, babe. Okay. So this part. The state has maintained that it was Chad Daybell who searched the wind on this direction on this specific day. It has to do, the date is when they suspect that Tylee, bless her sweetheart, they continue to use this prior, and even the state. And I know I understand why Pryor's doing it. And I also understand why the state is doing it. But to say that those children were buried, I don't know. I feel like that's giving them more credit than they deserve. In my opinion, bless their hearts, they were discarded. But that's when it happened. That's when Tylee's body was buried and burned. Okay. And so now Emma is about to discuss this, and we're going to listen to what she has to say. And then I'm going to tell y'all some things, how I feel about it. And I want to hear what you guys how you guys feel about it too. Okay, here we go.
And that would have been on 9/8/19. Do you recall that?
I do.
And was that your father who did that search?
That was me.
And what was the purpose of doing that search?
I saw a rainstorm. We were planning an outdoor event, and I wanted to know if those clouds were coming our way. The weather forecast for where we live in Rexburg is sometimes inaccurate because we don't live in Rexburg. So I was trying to be an amateur meteorologist, and the weather app said it was coming from the southwest, and I didn't know if that meant it was coming or going from the southwest. And so I did a Google search on the desktop computer that my parents kept in the living room. that would have been typical at that time. I was late to getting a smartphone, so using a desktop computer would have been more comfortable for me. And it was common just to jump on the computer. There wasn't any login or anything, so it was just getting on the internet.
Okay, and the access to that computer, I'd like you to talk a little bit about where that computer was in relation to the rest of the house.
My parents had two different computers, a PC and a Mac. There's different capacities of each one, and my mom liked different parts of both for the business. So they had one of both, and they were next to each other in the living room. And the screens were set up so that way everybody could see the screen.
Okay. First of all, you looked up the wind direction to see if the storms for your party were coming or going. And you were going to play amateur meteorologist, but you still weren't able to determine by that search whether the storm was coming towards you or going away from you. So if that is what you were searching for and you didn't understand what you were reading, how come there's not another Google search? I'm waiting for an answer as if she's going to answer me. She's not going to answer me. Well, what she did is she put herself directly in the path of potentially being there. So, yeah. So that is a problem, ma'am. That was probably not a good idea. Babe, it says that there it goes. Hi. Hello, Allie. Are you there? I'll just wait. Anyway, she's not muted. Anywho, so why would you do that? Why would you do that? Now let me make this not full screen anymore. Hey, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh my gosh. So I can't even log into my StreamYard. So I'm on a backup. I don't have no picture. I'm sorry.
You're fine, babe. What you think so far?
Are you sure that's Allie?
I'm positive it's Allie. She's the only one I gave the StreamYard to.
I just think, I don't know. Like I'm reading the chat and, I still believe, so I have watched some of the cross, but I still kind of believe, I think that she's brainwashed. I don't think she's up there lying intentionally. I don't know what you were just playing right before I came on it because it took me a second to get on.
Okay.
But regardless, like overall, that's kind of my overall opinion right now.
Okay. Well, would you like me to? Well, I can go back and play what I was playing. She's now taking. She's now saying that the Google search for wind direction was hers.
I saw. Yes. What do you think about that?
I think it's bullshit, and here's why. Because if the reason for you doing this search is because you were trying to figure out, there was a party, and you wanted to know if the rain was coming your way. Okay, that right there, that's plausible. That is a plausible explanation. However, when she further continues and she says, that she didn't know if the storm was coming towards them or moving away from them. That's not how the wind direction tells you which way the wind is blowing, right? And if you don't understand what you're looking at from that, which she clearly doesn't, if you don't understand what you're looking at from that Google search, why is there not a follow-up Google search? Do you know what would have been actually helpful if you're trying to look up weather? Going to the radar, because the radar will show you exactly when. And that's not what she did. You don't need to look at wind, the direction of wind, if you're trying to, I mean, you could, I suppose, but it's not going to be helpful to you. It would be much more helpful to look at radar, because even if you're looking at radar and if you see on there that they're not quite in the town of Rexburg, and so it's not that accurate, if you were to go to like their local news or whatever, you can go to the weather channel, and their radar is extremely accurate, and they can actually use your location. And they could do that back then too. This is poppycock
Well,
and
I mean,
bullshit. And that's lies. And she put
well,
herself
it happened
in the middle
the
of some
day
shit.
before Tylee, the very day before Tylee, that happened with the raccoon, and Tylee was buried out there, which is peculiar, but I still like, then, I will admit, because it's all coming back to me now, because the cross, all the different searches that, or not searches, I'm sorry, all the different things that Chad would say to her, and they're trying to say he was basically leading your testimony, telling you, mention this, don't mention that, or whatever, and she claims she doesn't remember it. But I'm really convinced that she is so sick in the head and twisted that she believes a lot of what she's saying. I truly, if not, like, I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. But
Well,
I think
listen,
that
babe,
Chad
you
has
are
a,
entirely entitled to your opinion, and I was leaning that way as well. But upon listening to this for the second time, completely all the way through, some parts were for the first time. Like there was parts of the examination that I had missed. So some of those parts were new to me for the first time, but most of this was me listening for the second time, uninterrupted, nobody bugging me. I didn't have to, it was quiet in the house, all the things, right? And I could really focus. That's when, like, after listening to that, that's when I went into MJ's, because I was so irritated that I wanted to listen to fucking Letitia and chat. I mean, MJ, I always want to chat with her, but that I was willing to listen to her. Do you know what I'm saying? To
Yeah,
Letitia, not to
but
MJ.
okay.
Don't get it twisted. Please don't clip that. And yeah, I always want to chill with Melissa. I adore her, and she knows this. But it's very difficult, for me to listen to too much Tisha, and we'd already been on Tisha that day. So, yeah, that's how irritated I was. MJ gets it. She knows what I mean. That's when you know it's bad, that it's a break to go and listen to Letitia, for fuck's sake. That's bad.
Yeah.
Hey, B Crumbs. Hey, Debbie
Well,
Doodles. Good to see you. Hey, YT3.
See, part of me, I part of me thinks that Lindsay was a little too, I don't know. I don't know. I would find myself in moments feeling sorry for her. I don't know. It's her mom that she lost. I see people saying she had contempt for Tammy. I think that's interesting because I didn't pick up on that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Play
Hey,
some more
listen
and
to
we'll see
this
as we go.
part. Listen to
Okay.
this part, because this is the part that I was like,
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Why do you say she was not?
I invited her to run with me, and
Oh,
she
hold
told
on.
me no.
I went a
and that
little
she never-
too much. All right, let's play it from here.
Be
My
fair.
bad.
Yes.
Relatively close.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's been some discussion about your mother training for a 5K race. Do you have any information about that?
I was training for a 5K race, but she was not.
Okay, and why do you say she was not?
I invited her to run with me, and she told me no, and that she never would.
Okay. Now, there was some discussion about your husband in September sponsoring a 5K.
All right, let me get over here to the Fitbit. She told me no, and that she never would. Now, this is where it's problematic, because we're going to go over here, and I don't know if Oh, stop. Okay, let's try it this way. Maybe it got it. Maybe. Oh, yep. Let's see. Okay. All right, here we go.
Change the subject a little bit about the clogging and the Zumba high fitness classes. What can you tell me about you and your mother's participation in those classes?
At that time, my mother and I were both overweight and wanted to exercise more. And some ladies at the school invited us to come to a class that they were going to in the evening at a local elementary school in the gym.
Can you tell me when approximately you and your mother started those classes?
We started going in April 2019.
And this was a joint effort to improve both of your fitness?
That's correct.
In your situation, was that shortly after a birth of one of your children?
That's correct.
And I got a lot of heat for suggesting people's weight and size and everything else, but needless to say, you felt personally.
Yes, that is my own words. I was overweight and I wanted to get healthier.
Okay, and your mother, from discussions with her, shared the same view?
Yes, I don't know how much she weighed.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Abstain.
Okay. In any event, the purpose of the Zumba class was for both of you to try to improve your fitness.
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk about the level of participation that both of you engaged in as part of those clogging and Zumba classes?
The idea of the Zumba class, high fitness, is that you can participate to whatever ability you're able to. The way that the gym was set up is it was a school multi-purpose room, so it had a basketball court and a stage. Our instructor would be on the stage where everybody could see her moving, and we would mirror her body movements similar to how you would copy an exercise video at your house. It was just live.
Yeah, we know
would
how
dim the
workout
lights in
classes
the
work.
room and turn on party lights to make it feel more fun than a typical aerobics class. So it was dark in the room. You could see silhouettes of people in front of you, but you wouldn't really be able to see people around you. That's part of why it was appealing, is if you couldn't dance very well, nobody would make fun of you.
Okay. And in terms of location, where did you generally stand?
So now, which is it? Now her answer is odd and about the running. When she was invited to join and she said no, this is her words. These are Emma's words. She said no, and she never would. Okay. Who speaks that way? If it were me, right? Most people, I should say. To me, a reasonable answer would have been my mom didn't like to run. There are a lot of people who don't like running, and they'll go and do all the other kinds of working out, right? To lose weight. They'll take Zumba, they'll do hot yoga, all the things, but they don't like to run. That would make more sense than saying it's the way she said it. No, and she never would.
Yeah, but you got to
Okay.
think, because what I think about that is so many people have continuous.
Hello?
That I don't even know what to think anymore. But I'm catching
You
myself
cut out,
like
babe.
being like,
You cut out. We didn't hear any of that. You got all we heard was you got to think so many people, and then that's it.
okay, so over the years, many people have said that Tammy was about to do that race. And I think that's probably why she's saying that, because she's like, wait, that, to me, that's the way I took it. Now, I'm catching myself because part of me is been charged with a crime. Her mom's dead. Her dad's in prison. I don't want to tear her up. But then the other part of me goes, today, Jen McCabe, she hasn't been charged with a crime, and her testimony was, oh, I don't know. I'm all over the place. I don't know.
Well, okay, so before I started listening last night, I went into it with, is it possible that she isn't outright lying, right? Because obviously lies are intentional. Is it that her testimony is shaped in a way because all she has as far as a parent is her dad? And is it possible that she doesn't want to be the person who says the thing that gets him locked up for the rest of his life, or worse for her, in her mind, what would be worse would be for him to receive the death penalty. And I did consider that. But there are things that were said throughout the testimony that she gave on direct. And then there are things that were not said. There is from all of the, especially from her husband, very, very little sympathy or empathy shown for those children being buried on that property, which, by the way, she and her husband, ever since June 9th of 29, no. Why can I ever never remember this? Is it 2020 or 2019 they were found? 2020.
I think, yeah, they were found in 2020. They went missing in 2019.
2019 and found in 2020. It's like my brain won't go back to those 2 years. Maybe because of lockdown, who knows? Anyway,
Yeah, and also other cases we talked about are at that time, like it's hard. I get stuff too.
Yeah, so here we have them, whether they believe that Chad participated or not, whether they believe their dad was framed or not, is irrelevant to me. Because even if they do believe that, which they have stopped quite short of saying that, but even if that were true, let's say he was framed, at the end of the day, 2 children were found on that property, murdered, period. Their lives were cut short. And there's no sympathy, there's no empathy, there's no emotion at all. And there's almost contempt, as if this has put a crimp in their life. You know what I mean? There's just something, I cannot quite put my finger exactly on it with Emma.
Did you notice when Pryor asked her if she was aware of the arrangements, like financially regarding the house between him and Chad? Doesn't he own that house, or is that just a rumor?
No, he owns the house.
Okay.
He owns the house. So, but at the end of the day, who the F is going to live there besides them? Who would buy that property? Most people wouldn't. They really wouldn't. Tammy was murdered in the house, and 2 children were found dead, murdered and buried on their property. You know?
Yeah. Well, but also we have to factor in, I guarantee you, when we think about her matter of factness and her emotions and stuff, I'm sure she was told to, be matter of fact, or he definitely trained her a little bit. They always do. You know what I mean? Try to talk to her about this.
You're talking about Pryor?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up, because according to Emma, Pryor has only talked to her 3 times. And the last thing that he told her in preparation, which was the last time, the third time was the last time that he talked to her, was for her to tell the truth, and that's it. He specifically asked her about that.
And she said how many times?
3.
But when didn't they talk just prior to this, just a few weeks before this, about testifying?
Right, and the she testified that the conversation was very quick, and it was Pryor only telling her just to tell the truth. They did not discuss her testimony at all.
I guess it's just hard to understand why she would have a problem with Tammy or the kids, or be hateful towards them. You know what I mean? It's hard. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. I guess it's possible, but I don't know. I just don't know. She, part of me listening to her thinks she sounds so believable when she's talking about her dad and his, emotions when he lost the mom, and how it was the most upset she'd ever seen him, and just so mad. I don't know. I just don't know. I think I just have a different opinion than most of you guys, and that's all right.
It's okay. This is,
Yeah.
I mean, I can, I get it. My thing with Emma is that I don't find her believable, but more to the point, it doesn't really matter what I think. When I take her testimony as a whole, I don't think she helped at all. And I'm very, very interested in these visits that she had with her dad, because
Yeah.
the questions that she was asked were very specific. They were not a general question. Hey, Legendary. Hey, Sexy Wild Bang McLevin freaking baby face claws.
Hey, Claus.
Hey, Foxy. So
Saying
my
the long
point,
name.
yeah, my point is that she asked the questions that she asked about the visits. She was actually quoting things that were said during those visits. And I have a feeling that those jail calls are going to come back. I don't think she's going to use. I do not think she's going to use Emma to get it in. Emma's already testified, right, that she acknowledges that she speaks to her dad all the time, right?
Every day.
Almost
Didn't they
daily.
say every day? Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
God. For 4 years.
Almost daily for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she brought up the calls. So what I think is going to happen is one of the detectives is going to get up on that stand and say, probably the last officer, who was it that logged in? Who has the login? That officer is going to be recalled in the rebuttal, and they're going to play those. And I'm very curious, Allie, if those do get played, if it will change your mind about Emma. Okay. So, here, I'll find it. I'll put it up for you guys. All right, hold on.
Could you hear me just now when you said if they
No.
get played it? Okay, I didn't think so, and I had to go inside because Amy needed clothes after her shower, and I lost signal going in the house. But I hope they do get brought in, and maybe they would. Now, if I hear Chad telling her what to say, as if the way the prosecutor almost tried to make it seem during the cross but she claims no, that then yeah, that would change my mind for sure. But it's just hard for me at this point, just based on what she said, to be like, oh, she's lying for sure, or she hates her mom or hates the kids or whatever. I think she loves her dad, and I know she's a grown woman with kids. That was said in the chat. She's grown and married with kids, for God's sake. I can tell you right now, if I lost my mom to anything, y'all probably wouldn't see me for a while, and it would rock my soul. Now, if I lost my mom and they were saying my dad murdered her and there were dead children in their yard, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I feel like that would just, oh God, it would just be horrific to go through. So I'm just trying to be fair to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that. And listen, there are parts of the testimony that she gave, like when we're going to go over it. We got to go back, but I want you to hear this part. I want you guys to hear this part, and then we're going to go back over something else in a minute when I remember it. All right.
Okay.
Miss Murray.
Okay.
Is it okay if I call you Miss Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Pryor started off saying that he told you to tell the truth here today. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you said you'd met with Mr. Pryor maybe 3 times.
That I recall.
You've been talking with your dad almost daily over the last several years, correct?
Yes.
Lots of conversations with your dad.
Yes.
Do you recall your dad in early June of 2020 telling you not to cooperate with law enforcement?
I don't remember him saying that.
You don't remember a phone call in which he relayed to you, probably better if you just don't cooperate?
I don't remember that.
Do you remember then telling the FBI you were not going to meet with them anymore?
I chose not to do that because of counsel from another attorney.
But it was after having that conversation with your dad, correct?
No.
Was it after June 9th of 2020 that you told him that?
Yes.
After June 10th of 2020 that you told him that?
I don't remember.
Do you recall visiting with your dad as well?
Yes.
Do you recall a visit on around November 23rd of last year?
Not specifically.
Do you recall having a visit where you and your dad talked about that 5K race?
Yes.
And do you recall your
Jim.
dad telling you that you might want to say certain things?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's say, you know, how they're like, well, do you recall him telling you not to cooperate? And she's like, no, or whatever. For one, how do you know it was after June 9th, but not after June 10th? That's just weird. But anyways, why wouldn't, this is why I'm asking you, I don't know, but
Oh, you're
let's say that they're
robot-y,
gonna
babe.
use moment while she's still on the stand. Okay,
You're-
what about now?
Let's talk again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so if they were going to bring in, let's say, these phone calls or recordings of the visit to impeach what she's saying, to prove that she's lying, wouldn't they usually do it like in this moment?
Okay. Ordinarily, yes. But remember, Lindsay, I shouldn't say Lindsay, the state in general has to play Emma Murray and Garth very, very carefully. Because, yes, they are Chad's children, but they are also Tammy's children. And so to go at her in that way could be construed by the jury as aggressive. So the better thing to do is to get the other officer who already testified about the phone call between Chad and Lori that took place the day before they found JJ and Tylee, and it was actually heard and listened to the day after. Okay, so that would be the better way, the safer way, because they can impeach her. They prove that Chad did manipulate, that he is running the show, which they have to prove. That's part of the elements, right? And so it would be, you can get all of that in without going at, and this is why she isn't subject to that exclusion subpoena, because she's a victim. She is, yes, she's Chad's daughter, but she's also Tammy's daughter. And Tammy was murdered, according, by this allegedly, which I believe, but for legal purposes, right? Allegedly at this point. And so that's why she doesn't have to participate in that, because she's also simultaneously a victim.
Right.
So that I think this is a smart play.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. It's Clicker's birthday. Well, happy birthday, Clicker. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Clicker.
to you.
Oh my gosh. I
Happy
love you,
birthday
Clicker. Happy
to
birthday.
you. Happy birthday, dear Clicker. Happy birthday to you. Okay.
Oh, I love
more
her so
singing.
much, and happy birthday. She's the best. But okay, let me ask you, if they don't do that, I agree with you. That would be brilliant. Like, to bring it, that would be a way to prove what she's saying without being aggressive towards her.
Correct.
That's a
Correct.
great idea. What if they don't do it? What if they never show evidence that what they're saying is true? Because here's the thing. What the prosecutor says is not evidence. And not only that, we know that the open and closing aren't evidence either, right? It's just about the testimony and the actual evidence, like number 1, 2, whatever. So if they don't bring
Right.
it in at all, then what? How do you feel about that? Do you still,
Well,
you know, do you feel like you need to see proof of that? Because I feel
if I
like
were on the jury
if you're
is
going to
going
make those claims, I want to see it. Show me. Show
correct.
that. That would be
Correct. The thing
man.
is, this is why I lean towards the state intends to bring those in during rebuttal. Because first
Okay.
of all, it's it's a heavy accusation. You're saying that you're referencing a specific visit with something very specific stated. Okay. And the jury is going to want to hear it. So if they don't hear it, it could be problematic for the state. So yeah, I absolutely think that it's coming in. I just think they're going to do it likely the way that, yeah, but
What would you do if
it's not okay, Lil Red, this
they
is where
don't?
you and I disagree. It
I
is
disagree.
an issue. And the reason why for me, in my opinion, if I were sitting on that jury, the reason why it would be an issue for me is she's saying Blake is asking Emma Daybell Murray if Chad told her to answer specific questions a specific way and to say some very specific things. I disagree. I think that it is an issue, a huge issue. And I think that there's no way
I agree.
that she would ask that question that way. She could have been vague about it and said, did your dad ever try to, when you were visiting your dad and having telephone calls with your dad, did you ever discuss cooperating with law enforcement? Right. That would have been, and Emma would have been like, no.
Mhm.
Okay. But she didn't.
Right.
How
I think
do,
it's an
okay,
issue
but
too. I'm
Lil
with you.
Red, how do they know she did? And how do they know she lied? How do they know that? We know that, but how does the jury, based on the evidence presented thus far with respect to Emma, how do they know that she lied? They don't. The jury. I mean, we'll see. One of us will be right, and one of us will be wrong.
Well, you know what, Jen? Okay, so let me just say, if I was on the jury, I would want to see the evidence. I'm not just gonna. First of all, you're told that what the
Babe, you're cutting out really bad.
oh my goodness, what about now? Let me turn off my Wi-Fi. Hold on. Okay, can you hear me now? I turned off Wi-Fi, so I'm using his data. Maybe it's better.
Okay, yeah, that's way better.
Okay, so I'm 100% agreement with you, Jen. I do believe it's an issue. The jury doesn't know that. I don't know that. If I'm listening to this, I want to see the evidence. Like, I don't want to just, I do believe, I don't think the prosecutor would lie necessarily. However, I know that what the prosecutor says is not considered evidence. And I would want to see anyways, even if it was considered evidence, I would still want to see for myself. So I do think it's an issue because if I'm sitting on the jury right now, like I said, I want to see it.
Right. It's one thing for the prosecutor to have asked if Chad told her to cooperate or not to cooperate. Okay. That's one thing. That's a real vague thing. But she asked some very, very, very specific things. I do think it's coming in. We'll see. We'll find out. I think I think that if it doesn't come in, is it going to change everything for the jury? No, I don't.
No.
But I do think that there is a specific reason they brought that up. I think that they want to impeach her testimony because although the evidence from the medical examiner is very, very, very damning and overwhelming. The medical examiner has said that the cause of death was asphyxiation and that it is a homicide. That is what the medical examiner found. And I think that the story is from Chad, from Garth, and from Emma, and from Emma's husband, Joe, that Tammy was this frail lady in the last week of her life, yet none of them said, Mom, you need to go to the doctor. None of them were concerned enough that they made her go to the doctor. They just gave suggestions. Maybe you should see a doctor. Oh, maybe you might want to go in. Come on. Does that sound legitimately like logical at all? Of course it doesn't. But they need to impeach that. They need to prove that you cannot take what Emma says as fact. She's not telling the truth. And the only way to do that is to bring those in. If you want to be sure.
Yeah.
If you want to be sure. Better safe than sorry. That's how I feel.
I agree. And does it shape the whole case? Absolutely not. There's so much other evidence that really shapes the case. However, if the prosecutor is going to make accusations like that, I would like to see the proof. And if we don't see it, it's something we should totally try to order because I want to see the
exactly. Exactly. So, okay. So let me finish this part and then we're going to move over to Garth.
No,
You don't recall that?
no,
Do you recall then talking about a race in 2013?
yes,
You recall your dad saying, once again, maybe say that?
no,
Do you recall your dad talking to you about the one that exercised with you at Zumba that Tammy wasn't able to keep up? She would just make up her own moves. Do you recall your dad telling you that?
no,
But you've had a lot of visits with your dad,
yes.
so it may be hard to remember everything he's told you.
He's never told me to say anything.
And there it is. That's where it's going to be problematic for her. It would be different if she had said, she gave her an out right there. She could have answered that and said, yeah, it's possible. I don't, nobody would be able to remember every visit, every phone conversation that they ever had with somebody every day for the last 4 years. You just wouldn't be able to. So she gave her an out right there and she did not take it. She specifically she said, he's never told me to say anything.
Do you think that she dyed her hair to look like Lori?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm like, you know what? That's it's interesting and seeing the before and after. I have to admit it is kind of take you back a little bit. But if I step back and think about it, why the hell would she do that? I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Do they have are they talking all the time? Like her and her dad? You know what I mean? I would be curious to know that because it's not like they were super close. Now we do know they did spend some time together, but they weren't super close. So why would she try to copy her? Aren't there a ton of other Instagram models or actresses or lots of other people? I don't know. It's interesting.
Also, there's the thing that was said at the end of her testimony that I forgot, and we'll go back and play it. But she's asked about the finding out all of that the affair was more than it went on longer, and it was not just an emotional affair. It was a physical affair. And when they asked her about it, she said something to the effect of, because they were asking about the reaction, Chad's reaction to her mother being dead. And they also asked her, would it surprise you to know that on the day that your mother died, Chad was texting Lori, and the text read something to the effect of, "I'm sad, but not for the reasons people think."
Wait, can you say it again? I'm sad that what?
Not for the reason that people think.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then shortly thereafter, Lori was there at the house, and she was asked about that. And what she said was that even though Chad may not have felt the same way he did about Tammy when they first met, when they were younger, when they were a new couple, that he still loved her in the end, basically is what she said.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you a personal story very quickly. When
Right.
my mom died, it was completely unexpected. And my parents had been divorced for quite some time when my mom passed away. And my dad brought his wife, who I'd met and hung out with and whatnot, to the funeral. I didn't like it, but I didn't say anything. After my mom's funeral, we went back to her apartment because my sister and I needed to figure out what we were going to do from there. And that's when I got upset. I didn't say anything, but I was pissed. Now, you guys are hearing me. If I were put on the stand and somebody asked me how I felt, even though my parents had been divorced for quite some time, by that point, I thought it was disrespectful as fuck for my dad and for that chick, for that woman. They're not even married anymore anyways, to be in my mom's apartment. I thought it was disrespectful.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I
don't
didn't
blame
like
you,
it.
and
It
I'm
made me
sorry,
uncomfortable and it pissed me off.
Well, I'm sorry, and I don't blame you, and I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well,
Because,
thank you
yeah,
guys. I appreciate it. This was a long time ago. This is back in 2015. I miss my mom a lot. I think about her every day, and I miss her. And I appreciate
Yeah.
that. But I didn't tell you guys that story because I know that's not, I know you guys know that. But my point is that
Yeah, we
even
know
though
that. Yeah.
they were divorced and had been divorced for, I don't know, like 5 years by that point, maybe even longer, that it still pissed me off. And so I can't, when she said what she said, and believe me, my dad was sad that my mom died. I mean, he was upset at her funeral, all of the things, but in my opinion, it was disrespectful. And my mom didn't know that woman. It's not like they were friends. It's not like she was my stepmom and helped raise me or anything like that. I just didn't like it. And that's completely different circumstances than in the moment, the circumstances surrounding the death are the same. My mom, I had her at my house that whole week before. I took her home on Sunday. She died on Tuesday. That's quick. So in that regard, it's the same.
What
It
happened,
had my
baby?
mom,
Was it like,
she had she had the widowmaker, a massive heart attack.
oh my God.
So in that regard, it is the same. But I'm telling you right now, if my dad had strolled up to my mom's, after my mom was barely in the ground, had strolled up with his new side piece, the better part of his and her face would be underneath my nails. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. So I can't imagine how I don't understand her being okay with all of that.
Yeah. Well, I do. I think it was Patricia that was in the chat a minute ago. I'm not watching chat right now, you guys, by the way. But Patricia was saying that, remember, this is how she was raised, that, you have to support your dad, your husband. Like, they were raised in this how do you say that word? Patriarchal like type of situation. So
Right.
that factors into it too, which is, an interesting point. But I don't know. I just find that so interesting that your situations were kind of similar and very different reactions. But I do believe something is wrong with him. I'm not saying that she's, I think she's like brainwashed. I think that she's truly convinced of some of this stuff. And sure, part of that comes with like loving your dad, but also, I don't know, it's just beyond that. It's like someone had put in chat earlier, she would need deprogramming, and that's truly how it looks.
Nonstop mom wits BS, babe. Here's my thing. This is my my faith, my background, the way that I was raised Roman Catholic. Okay. And I was raised in a household where the husband was, my dad ran that. I mean, everybody fussed over my dad in that house. Anytime when he used to train when he started doing like 5Ks, my sister and I would bike behind him and give him water before school. When he was training for marathons, same thing. We would have to get up at the butt ass crack of dawn so that we could go ride the bike behind my dad to give him water while he was running,
Aww.
training for the marathon. Then we'd come home, get ready for school. And my sister and I took turns. Every other time it was my turn. Whenever, he needed to carb load the night before a race like that, my mom made like my mom's a fantastic cook, but she would do stuff like that. I remember when he went on the Weight Watchers diet and, 4 shelves of the pantry were cleared out. Not really 4, but like 2 for the Weight Watcher stuff. And my mom would make dinner for everybody. And then when he would get home from work, she would make his separate Weight Watchers dinner. And she worked full time. My mom was a histologist for 30 years. So for me personally, I grew up in a household similar to that. And here I am, loud and proud, saying exactly what the fuck I think. And I think that, to be honest with you, if I were on that jury right now and I were listening to this and she said, it hurt my feelings. If she had said that, I was upset, I didn't like to see it, I would actually feel, I would be like, okay, she's being honest, because there's nothing wrong with feeling that. That would be a natural response. Nobody would really judge her for that. It's the, it is what it is kind of attitude. She's so like nonchalant about it. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it,
Well, I mean,
that's why people
don't you
feel
think it is a bit different though that she's still in the church type thing?
I mean, yeah, but also, as I understand it, part of the faith is that the man in the household really only holds power if he's living the covenants, or I can't remember the phrase that they use, and adultery is not that. So, it,
Right, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's possible.
I mean,
but
I don't know. Listen, I'm not saying that she should get up on that stand and read her dad for absolute filth, because it is a conflict. That is her father. That is who raised her. She loves her dad. I get that. And I'm not saying she shouldn't love her dad. I'm just saying that she could have, she could have said that it bothered her and people would have understood. And it doesn't make Chad less or more guilty if it bothers Emma that Lori was there. Do you know what I mean? It just would have been more like,
real.
it is what it is. It would have been more real. Exactly. Now we're going to get to Garth. All right, hold on, because I need to look in his transcript, because I believe it's about the call. Oh, wait, hold on. It's not going to work because I didn't pull up the transcript. Give me just a sec.
Oh my gosh, my foot is in a cramp. It's like stuck. Oh. Sorry.
Oh
You know, when your
no.
foot gets like stuck bent up and you can't unbend it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. I
It
think
hurts. Okay.
no, I think it might be. I think the word I need to look is vehicle. Hold on. No, it wasn't about the vehicle. Where was it?
MK, I'll be listening full blast.
Okay.
I'm sorry while I drive. He says, so watch. It's MK. He said, well, I'm listening full blast while I drive. So watch your cussing. LOL.
Roll your windows up so nobody has to hear it. The red lights. What? Whoa. Okay. Let me see. I think it's sister. I think this is the part. Let me try Kara. Because he gets real.
I
He
did
gets-
stand on it.
He sounds like here it is. Here we go. All right, here we go.
Do you recall one of the detectives telling you that your mother's death?
Sustained.
Do you recall talking to an individual named Micaiah Bagelin and telling him you found your mom dead in her bed and your dad gone?
I don't recall talking to him about that.
Do you recall talking to Cara Briggs, who's now Cara Daybell, and Emma Moss about finding your mom on the couch?
I told Kara. She's now my wife.
And there was talk of some testimony at some grand juries. Do you recall that? Sorry, let me back up. Let me rephrase that. Do you recall counsel asking you about having testified at a couple proceedings?
So in my
Sorry, I messed it up. Allie, check the private chat, would you? There's an update.
Yes. Yay. Okay. Thank you. Love you, Jen. I'm sorry.
Sorry, babe. I knew I love you too. And I knew that we were both worried about that. And now it's fine. And so I just wanted to make sure that I told you. And now I messed up where I was at. All right, hold on. We'll go here. Close enough. I think
she's
this
now
is
my
it.
wife.
And there was talk of some testimony at some grand juries. Do you recall that? Sorry, let me back up. Let me rephrase that. Do you recall counsel asking you about having testified at a couple proceedings?
Sorry, I I don't quite know the rules, but when you were talking to me about Kara and Emma, can you repeat that question? I don't know if
Yes. Do you recall telling Cara and or Emma about finding your mom on the couch?
I did not tell them that she was on the couch.
Do you recall having talked to one or both of them?
I do. I had
Okay, so that was one part where
What?
he sounds very similar to, hold on a minute, to how he sounded in the 911 call. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let me find
On
it
the
up here.
couch.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Well,
hold on a
Lindsay, please
minute.
show us where that comes from too. Like,
What?
because now I'm curious. I hope that they show us where like why she's asking him that.
Because
You know
it's
what I
in,
mean?
I'm sure it's in a report somewhere.
Yeah, I hope that we get to see that. If not afterwards, I really want to see that.
All right. So we're going to start. We're going to start like about right here. And I want you guys to listen to this because this little exchange about the vehicle reminded me of the 911 call.
about 20 feet between the two beds.
Okay. Now I'm going to switch around a little bit and go on a couple of other different topics. So please bear with me. Okay. There is a method to this madness, I guess. But do you have a recollection? And I want to say prior to 2000, not John Pryor, but prior to 2017, who was driving the Dodge Dakota?
Prior to 2017 was my dad.
Okay. And then after 2017, was your dad still driving the Dodge Dakota?
He was not,
Okay. You're sure about that?
I am sure.
Okay. Who was driving the Dodge Dakota?
It'd be my mom.
Okay. Okay. And she was primarily the one driving that?
Oh, I think I have it backwards.
Well, that's what I want to ask you, and I want to make sure that you're being accurate about this. So prior, and maybe I confused you by doing that. At the time of your mother's death, do you know which vehicle your dad was driving?
My dad was driving the Dodge Dakota.
Okay. And is there a reason why are you nervous?
I am.
Okay. Okay. Do you share your father's introvert personality?
I do. I consider myself pretty shy.
Okay. So at the time, and I'm going to go back, and this is prior, meaning before 2017. Again, do you know who was driving the Dodge Dakota?
So before 2017, it would have been my mom.
Okay. And then do you have a reason as to why that changed? Do you
Okay. So you guys hear that? Remember in the 911 call at the very beginning when he starts talking about how he found his mom and the 911 operator is asking him questions and he says, "Oh, I don't know." And then Chad takes over. That little exchange right there reminded me of that, where he realized after it was out of his mouth, that's not what he was supposed to say. Now I have to tell you guys, I don't actually understand what the kerfuffle is about the vehicles, if I'm being fair. I don't remember what the deal is, why it matters, who drove
Wait,
what
I do.
vehicle, but there's a reason. Tell me, because I'm dying
I
to
do.
tell me.
Because Pryor's trying to make the point that Tammy was driving the truck the day she got shot at, and that usually it's Chad driving the truck.
Okay.
And that it was would be like they were aiming for Chad type thing.
I got you.
Mhm.
Okay. Here's another part about Garth's testimony that I find problematic. Okay. Let's see. Let me start. We'll start right here. Here we go.
to what after you got home from work from the first job, what did you do next?
So I came home and mom usually came home before me, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And she told me, I just don't feel good today. I don't want to cook tonight. Can you go get some McDonald's for us?
Now that's a long way to a McDonald's, is it not?
Well, I mean, we're used to driving into town for various things,
So
so
then what town did you drive to for the McDonald's?
Rexburg.
Okay. And forgive me, I don't recall if there is a McDonald's in Rexburg.
There's two.
Oh. Okay. Ben, did you get some food for you folks?
I did.
I mean, you own real estate in Rexburg. You should know what local restaurants are around.
Who did you get food for?
Jerk.
So I bought food for me and my father and my mother.
Okay, do you recall what you got for your mother?
Her favorite meal was the quarter pounder with cheese.
A healthy meal.
Depends.
And anything
What?
else?
Yeah, but that little jab is just an asshole move on Pryor's part. But did you hear what she said what he got her from McDonald's? Quarter pounder, French
Yeah.
fries. He thinks he got her a combo meal. Do you know what was found in the contents of Tammy Daybell's stomach?
What?
Potatoes.
Did she eat the French fries? Is that what it was? Or
They said potatoes. I don't know what that means. However, how come?
yeah, no meat and stuff. That makes sense. But also,
But why was
damn, Pryor,
exactly? Why
what
wasn't anything else
Peruda?
found in her stomach? And peanuts, excuse me. Yes, peanuts and potatoes. I forgot the peanuts part, you guys.
I feel like the fries could be the potatoes, but we're missing a whole sandwich. But oh God, I feel sad for Garth. I can't help it. He sounds so meek. I don't know if that's what's making me feel sad for him or what, but what an asshole jab for Pryor to take a healthy meal. Well, are you trying to say it was like a fat meal, a fattening meal, or a very unhealthy meal? So that's why she ended up deceased. I mean, we eat. I'm sure most of us eat McDonald's here and there, right? And I
Right.
don't know. I just thought that was a rude.
It was
statement.
a ridiculous, unnecessary jab. But that's why would you have why would okay, so this is what Chad said. And Garth wasn't there, so he can't really testify to this. He got home from his first job. Okay. He went and he got everybody McDonald's. Came home, ate the McDonald's. He got dressed in his costume to go to the haunted mill, which is his second job. He's an 8th grade teacher. Okay. Science teacher. Now, Chad says that Tammy threw up. Okay. So the throwing up may explain why we don't find McDonald's in her stomach contents. But what we do find is peanuts and potatoes. Now, class, how many of you who were coughing, not feeling well, and vomited up your last meal would think that peanuts and potatoes would be something good to eat after you just been queasy?
No. No. Or a quarter pounder at all. There's no way when I'm sick to my stomach, I'm eating some greasy ass food like that. I want
Right.
like crackers, bread, something, soup, like I think Patricia said, or no humanimal, but definitely not a quarter pounder. But can I just say, I don't think that you guys are mean for not feeling sorry for them. I don't care. Like, I don't think that at all. I just think it's very, yeah. I don't want
I
anybody
don't
to be
care.
like you're like I'm judging or something like that, or I'm just like, oh, I'm so nice. That's what. No, I'm just being honest with my opinion. There's something about here. Maybe it's because I know that he found his mom, and I heard that 911 call. I hear it differently than most people do. I don't know. I hear. Like, to me,
Well,
I
I
hear
think
Chad
he was.
faking and him legit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, I think Garth was much, much closer to Tammy than Emma was. And I do think that Garth was very upset. I think he was shocked, scared, and sad. I think, but here's the other thing. It's different than the 911 call. His testimony, again, is different. He says that he came in and he saw his mom half on, half off the bed with her foot sort of wrapped up in the blankets. He also said that when he came home from his second job around 1 a.m., his bedroom is by his parents' room, and he could hear Chad Daybell in the room snoring. So he goes to his room, he gets comfy, he watches what everybody watches when they get home, the YouTubes for a couple of hours, and he was asleep by 3. He was awoken by his dad yelling for him, "Garth, I need your help." He goes in the room, says that's how he found his mother, but that's not what he said on the 911 call. He said his mom was on the floor and that his immediate thing was to put her back in the bed. That's what he testified. Okay, he said he found her on the floor and that she was stiff and that she was cold on the 911 call. In the testimony, he said she was half off, half on the bed with her feet wrapped up, sort of entangled in the blanket. And his first inclination was to get his mom back up in the bed. I think he did put his mom back in the bed. I think he found her exactly like he said on the 911 call, but that was going to be a problem for Chad, which now Chad has to explain how somebody who's cold and stiff and gray has fallen out of the bed.
Yes, I agree.
This is not on Garth, in my opinion. This is all on Chad. And I think that Chad called Garth because he needed somebody else to actually see her too. He needed a witness.
Yes, 100% agree with that. He absolutely did. Okay, and let me say just for a second, I know y'all are teasing me, but I got to make this clear just because I do care what you think. I don't care. Like I love to hear what you guys think, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, like how rude are you or anything like that. I just think you guys have we all have different opinions, and that's what's cool about having the discussions is like the
Right.
different opinions and kind of challenging each other like that, but never ever getting mad about it, looking my nose down, looking my nose up, acting like that.
No.
Yeah, none of that stuff. None of that.
She cares, but it's not going to change how she feels about you if you don't agree with her. We
Yes.
don't like echo chambers over here.
I'm just an asshole, I guess, and I'm all flustered tonight, all over the place, and my words are not really that good. I'm not good with words today. But you got it, Jen. Exactly. That's exactly what I mean.
And it's like, okay. So back to Chad and Garth. There was an endearing part of Garth's testimony. When he was talking about his mom, he said he helped her with the gardening. He was her muscle. And I think this is just what I take from the testimony, all of it in total. I think that, like I said before, Garth it was much closer to Tammy than Emma was. And I think that Garth is actually sad and torn up about all of this. Now, remember, Pryor had said 2 or 3 of Chad's kids are going to testify, and we've only heard from 2 of them. So we'll see what's next.
Okay.
And you are compassionate. I'm just going to be honest. Allie is like at least 15% nicer than I am. Where I have an issue. Where I have the issue with Emma and Joe. Y'all hear that?
Yes.
That is Max
like,
screaming
Mom.
for me.
He's like, Mom.
Mom. Hold on, Mac. Where I have the issue with Emma and Joe, really Joe, is the lack of empathy or anything. They have children. And they don't show any sadness, empathy, or just respect for the fact that JJ and Tylee were murdered and buried on that property, regardless of how they got there. At the end of the day, how can you not have empathy and sympathy for the family who's grieving the loss of their children, of Tylee and JJ? That's my problem. That's why I was grossed out by them. So now I'm very curious. Okay, I'm going to have to cut this a little bit short. Obviously, as you can hear, Mac is needing my attention, but I also want you guys, I need to go over here really quickly. Let me go get this link really quick because I need to send something to you. We'll talk. I'll break it down more tomorrow. We'll continue to talk about the rest of this because there's more that I want to talk about with, why can I not? Hold on a second. Let me find her live.
Well, Red
MJ is
says-
about to go live. I can't even talk. And I want to give you guys the link to hers
9,
because
right?
she'll be going in at 9.
Okay. And then Little Red says, and you also have a super chat, but I want just Little Red says, why did no one ask anyone how the children ended up in the backyard? Well, I don't know how they would know that, but I think that's a good point. Why did they not ask about that at all?
Right.
Why,
They didn't.
Jen?
I don't know. Wait, hold on a second. Here, thank you, Nonstop Mom. I appreciate that, babe. Nonstop Mom says, I can't with these kids. Sorry, but your mother died and nobody seems to care about how dad is acting afterwards. Yep, his testimony is not consistent. Discussion is okay, but if we disagree, F off. Oh, Nonstop Mom. You're so silly. Okay, ask me that question again, babe. That you just asked me.
Oh gosh. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear any. You cut out reading Nonstop Mom's super chat, but I do agree with her. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm torn over it all.
I know.
I don't know.
Okay, but what's the question you asked me before that? Something about asking something.
Oh, yeah, but just about why the kids being found there wasn't brought up. And do you recall, because I watched the cross exam with Emma either last night or this morning, like before sleep or after sleep. So I can't remember. What did they say to her about that video outside of with Chad the day that the kids were found?
Oh, what they asked. Okay, so are you asking me why Emma and Garth were not asked why those kids were found there?
Yeah, or
Is that what
anything about it.
Or well, because
Not necessarily why, but
anything they would have been asked would have been speculation. They wouldn't have been, or anything. There was something Pryor was trying to get in with Emma, through Emma, which was that essentially there was conversation on that Knott's Berry Farm trip about JJ and Tylee, and that her dad basically had no idea where they were, that Lori's the only person that knew, and that Lori told Chad that they were somewhere safe.
right. Yeah, no. So when Lil Red asked that question, she said, how come no one asked why the kids ended up in the backyard? And I said, well, I don't think they would necessarily know that, right? So that's kind of in line with what you said about speculation. But I am curious why they didn't mention it at all. And I was asking you, did they ask Emma anything about the video with Chad in the body cam with the
Yes,
red?
they played it. They played it.
I don't remember. And what did she say?
Well, Pryor played it, and the reason that
What?
he played it, yes, was
did I
no,
miss
no,
that?
that's not true. Pryor asked her about the where she would be, where Chad would be looking if from where his vehicle was positioned, where he would be, where what Chad would be able to see. Hold on, let's go back and find it. Hold on, we'll see I'll play that for you, Allie, because we got like 10 minutes, and it's quick. That part of it is, and we will not be going over MJ because we did yesterday and that ain't cool. So let me go to the transcript.
We went 2 minutes yesterday, but we
which is good for us, but still.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, because I think
Let
I
me see if
watched
I
all
can
of the cross,
scroll
but I was like
through.
half asleep. But I know I was feeling like when I was watching the cross, my gut was like, I felt like she was like the prosecutor was being kind of cruel to her. Now, if the prosecutor has truly seen her on these videos talking to Chad and that stuff, I could see why, right? She would have that kind of attitude towards her, but I don't know. That's why I want to see those videos.
All right, hold on.
Ow. Question everything. Absolutely. Oh no, you got left behind, con artist?
Oh
No, I dropped the link in the chat of her exact live. Did you drop
Me
the link to
too.
her? Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't do it tonight, but. And you're right, Humanimal.
I'm
It
trying
does
to
feel
remember
cruel.
what we should, what to search
Well,
for that in the
we
oh,
can
here
come
we
back
go.
to
I
it.
got it. I got it.
Okay.
I found it. All right, so they play it. Finances. This is, I'm scrolling through the talk that's on the body cam. I'm waiting for her to ask a question.
This Alex, what about me? Let me see. Alex is too nice. Sometimes pointer lover. I got my, you guys know, not always. It's just like, I don't know. I just like kind of always try to give the benefit of the doubt naturally. Probably because I was such an asshole for such a long time growing like, and then like maybe I don't know. I just don't know, but it's just the way I feel.
All right, let me share this. I found it. I got you.
Okay. I know Max in there like, damn it, Mom. I've been yelling for you for
I know
10
Mac is so
minutes."
mad at me. If you guys listen, if I don't go live tomorrow, it's because Mac has tied me up with the curtain poles.
Do you recall this conversation with your dad?
Yes.
And when you first walked up, your dad didn't ask you if you knew why he was arrested, did he?
No.
Do you recall a conversation in there about moving a mattress from upstairs and putting the books on the shelves or something along those?
Yes.
Where was the upstairs?
It was in the top of the cozy cone.
So there was a mattress in there?
He had just barely put it there. Typically, no one lived up there. It's like the one time of year that the temperature actually cooperated. There just wasn't room at the house. There's a lot of people living there at the time.
So there was an upstairs that had room for a mattress though.
Yeah.
And there was some talk in there about some cash that he wanted you to have. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And he talked to you about how to pay the mortgage
Yes.
and talked to you about letting you take the car.
Yes.
And prior to that, or around the same time, do you recall him making an $8,000 deposit into your account?
Yes.
Do you recall conversation that day about a body being located?
Yes.
And do you recall then a conversation about a second body being looked for?
A conversation with my dad?
Yes.
Yes.
Whose bodies were those?
Tylee Ryan and JJ Ballo.
I have nothing further.
All right, thank you.
Oh my God. Hey, Jen, can you just play the last 10 seconds real fast again?
No. I can play the last 7, but not 10. That's too much.
All right, I'll take what I can get, I guess.
All right, here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Second body being looked for.
Oh wait, I didn't go enough. All right, ready? Here we go.
Do you recall conversation that day about a body being located?
Yes.
And do you recall then a conversation about a second body being looked for?
A conversation with my dad?
Yes.
Yes.
Whose bodies were those?
Tylee Ryan and JJ Ballo.
I have nothing further.
All right, thank you.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
And prior, mainly his whole contention about the he really talks a lot about these problematic ass raccoons. Okay. The whole neighborhood was up in arms about these raccoons. These little trash pandas were doing all the things. And and saying that Garth testified that Chad said that he buried one by the red barn or silver barn. Now, tomorrow night, we're going to get into Joe Murray's testimony. Okay. And we're also going to talk about what the medical examiner, the pathologist, the forensic pathologist who testified for the defense today had to say. We're going to talk
I
about
didn't see that.
prior
See, I
being.
watched Karen today. I gotta
did
catch
you?
up.
Okay.
So they had their own specialist. They had their own forensic
Yes. I
pathologist.
told you they would,
Oh,
babe. I told
know,
you
but
they would.
well, I know a lot of times they'll bring experts, but sometimes, we've seen like in other cases, hell, Lori didn't bring anybody. Tisha brought one ridiculous
No, she
expert.
didn't. Okay, so then the next people that they had was the neighbor who also talked about raccoons, which nobody believes. And then they had on the attorney general who testified very briefly. He testified that at one point they were handling the investigation into Tammy Daybell's murder. And you will never guess in 11 billion years who Pryor focused on during that questioning.
Who?
Of the attorney general. Who, besides raccoons, does Pryor talk
Melanie
about?
Gibb.
Yep. Because
Damn it.
after the recording was stopped in the interview, they interviewed her for over 3 hours. And after the recording was stopped, Melanie Gibb decided to rate the attorney general on a light and dark
my.
scale. Sure did. David, go
Wow.
get your girl. She out here rating other folks.
Yeah. All right. Well, if we're not going over Melissa, we're real close.
No, we're going to
Okay.
stop right here. 1 minute. We're
Okay.
going to be early. I want to thank everybody. Allie, thank you for being here. Please tell your mom happy birthday from me. Thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it so much. Your support means the world to me. Go over and check out MJ. She's going to be covering Tisha and Amy Lang, everybody's favorites. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to go more into this. All right, because it's time for you to be live. And MJ at 9:00. I watched.
Yes. And yes, Karen Reed, we are Angie today. Karen Reed was intense. Oh my gosh. Jen McCabe was on the stand. Isn't that her name? It was the lady who was with her that night, the one that sister is married to the Roberts. And she was
Jen McCabe.
It was, yes, and it was cross-examination. And oh my God, she had such attitude. It was so intense. You must see it. It's very good, but it's long because I thought we should play it, but it's really long. So I don't know how we can, but maybe we can talk about it. But anyways, it was very good.
No, Melissa, I'm not. I'm going to end because I want everybody to go over there because there's some stuff that I want to get together, and I also need to stop because I need to get off of here and I need to start. I got to try to catch up with this fucking Reed trial, or I'm going to be like 11 billion years behind. I need to check on that stuff. So, but yes, Humanimal, to answer your question, Gib is out here openly, not just openly rating people. She is openly rating the attorney general who was investigating this case. She's a fucking fool. All right, you guys. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I think I might do like a colossal long ass live tomorrow night. I'm just also tired. I cleaned the whole house. I did all the floors. I had to do the steam mop with the white vinegar, and it was a lot. All right. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow. I'll do a longer live tomorrow. Promise, and we're going to talk about it all. And
I'll see you guys at Melissa's.
Yes.
Sorry,
all right.
Brandy.
No, I'll be over there too. I'm gonna be in Melissa's chat, but I also got to be listening. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Bye.